Good morning. It's Brenda Quintana here, and today is Tuesday, and it's Casing Tuesday, and that's the day when we take a card out of the catalog and we give it a makeover. And I'm just going to wait just a little bit and see if a few people join me here this morning. And as always, if you have questions, if you're watching the replay and you have questions, please go ahead and post those questions and I will answer them later on. And if you're live, I will try and answer them live. Good morning, Renee, and good morning to everyone who's joining me this morning. Today's card is using a stamp set that I love, and it's called Inspiring Iris. And I love irises because I have fond childhood memories of irises growing in our front yard. And we had this big fossilized rock that was taller than me. My dad had dug it out of the yard. It was what would have become later on our vegetable garden. It was this big rock. He dug it out and he moved it to our front yard. And it had the most interesting little fossils in it. And around that rock, he planted some iris bulbs, and they were big purple bearded irises, and they lasted for a number of years. And I don't know whatever happened to them, but I remember later on we didn't have them anymore. But I don't know, when I see a purple bearded iris, it just reminds me of spring, and it reminds me of getting up and going to church on Sundays, because I know I'd be wearing, like, I don't know, I had some floral dresses, and I don't know, brings back good memories of my childhood. And so when I saw this stamp set, I knew I had to get it. It was, I think, on my very first order because I like them so much. But this is the first time I've gotten to use it. I think that's one of the sad things about being a demonstrator. We tend to order a lot in a big order right at the beginning, and then we slowly work our way through everything. At least that's the way I do it. And it might be a month or two before we actually get to use the stamp sets that we have ordered. Okay, so I have some people already here, so I'll get started. So I'll show you the card that we are casing this morning. Let me see if I get this right. Okay, here is the card. I popped it up on the screen here, and it has a soft sea foam base. That's the name of the cardstock. And it's using, I think, Varied Vases, or one of the Vases stamps. And I love that card, but I didn't want to do the exact same thing. So I changed mine up a little bit. If you need to, we have a sketch. So if you're going to join us, which I hope you will do, we have a Facebook group. And if you look in the description of this video, you will find a link to our Facebook page. And this is the layout that you can use to help you design your card. It's really neat when you have a layout to work from because it gives you the basis for the card. I always start with what will be the focal point of the card. I don't start building the other elements around until I've decided what I'm going to stamp with. So you see there's a circular image, and so that's what that 2¼ inch circle, that's what I would start with. What are you going to put in there? What stamp set are you going to use? And then everything else builds around that. A doily, even though I have a bit of a doily phobia, a doily is a nice thing to stick behind there because it won't draw too much attention away from your focal point or that main circle. So even though I have a doily phobia, let me turn, oh, let me close, oh, there we go. Get rid of those images. Even though I have a doily phobia, I found that this layout was very easy to work with. So I was able to kind of ignore the doily until I had to put it on the card, because doilies, I don't know, for some reason I have trouble with them. I'm not sure why. Doilies are pretty things, except when I put them on a card and I can't deal with it. So let me turn my camera around and I'm going to show you Here's my workspace this morning. I've kind of got everything laid out here. So here's my card for the day. And I used the Inspiring Iris stamp in this focal point area. And I used a greeting and I cut it apart. And then I did some stamping on this layer right here and ran it through with an embossing folder. But I'm going to stamp the whole thing for you. So let me show you how I did it. Here is the stamp set. It has things in it other than irises. It has this flower that could be a carnation, and it has this flower which I don't know if you would consider it a rose, but it is a flower. And it has, the stamp set has outlines and then it has filler. So you'll see in a moment, you stamp the outline and then you stamp the filler. And it gives the flower definition, but you don't have to spend a lot of time coloring it. And the greetings in the stamp set are also very nice, like wishing you the best, thanks, you are somebody who makes everybody feel like somebody, and sending hugs, prayers, and lots of love. It's just a very nice stamp set. You should look at it and see if you'd like to get it. All right, let us stamp the iris first. So I'm going to take some tuxedo black ink, and this is my iris stamp. So I'm going to stamp first and then I'm going to cut out my image because it makes it easier rather than having to try and place it in a circle. You can just stamp it and then cut it out. So I'm just going to try and eyeball this for the center of this piece. This is about a 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch piece, but it's going to be cut into a circle. Okay. And then actually, while I'm here and have my black ink out, I'm going to grab, this was Wishing You the Best, and this was the greeting. It was originally together in one greeting, and I cut it apart. I cut apart Wishing You and the Best. So what I want to do here is just kind of line this up with the bottom on a scrap piece of paper, and then I'm going to cut them apart in a second. So let me stick this aside, stick my greetings aside, and now I'm going to fill in this image. So I've got my gorgeous grape stamp set and or ink pad, and then I've got my little flowers. So I'm gonna have to see, I have a look to see which way they go because there is a correct way. I'm going to hover it over and just turn it just a little bit just to see that I'm stamping in the right area, like that. And then I'm going to take that aside and I'll take my Granny Apple Green and ink up these stems, and then I can hover that over here. All right, like that. So you'll see it's not exactly precise, but I love the look. Like, it doesn't fill everything 100% exactly, but the look, the overall look is just wonderful. So I'll grab my big shot here and my piece, and I've got my platform, I've got a cutting plate, I've got my iris, and then I'm going to stand up while I do this so I can get my placement where I want it. I want my flower to be just a little to the left, so I have room to put my greeting. So if you can just kind of get it a little bit towards the left side, that will help you out later on if you're adding a greeting. So I'll run this through. Uh-oh, you know what I need? This did not cut. I need my my extra little plate. I'll go grab that. what happens when you use the magnetic platform a lot. You forget that when you use the regular platform that you need your thin die adapter. So let's do this take 2. So hopefully it's shifted a little bit. All right, that's good. And then I'm going to run this through the right way this time. And now I feel it cutting. All right, so that's what it looks like. And I'm going to have to bring this back in one more time in a moment when we do our background. But I'll just leave this out of the way. By the way, these were the layering circles framelits, and I left them off the supply list this morning, but they're called layering circles framelits, and this was the second largest circle in that collection. Okay, so let's do some stamping here so I can finish my big shot work. This is a piece of soft sea foam, and I've cut this piece to 3.5 by 4 3/4 inches, and I'm going to take my soft sea foam ink pad, and I just want to stamp a little bit of leaves in the background. Let me grab a piece of scrap because I'm going to go off the edges a little bit. So I'm trying to anticipate where my circle is going to land. So I want to have a little bit coming down here near the bottom. And then I want a little bit near the top, and this is where I'm going to go off a little bit. And then I want a little bit here on the side. So I know that looks a little bit random, but once I stick my circle on top of here, I should have some sticking out here, here, and here. So I think that will look good. Let me put that away. And these leaves, by the way, are also in the stamp set. They were actually for a different flower, but I thought it would look nice as a background stamp. Okay, let me grab my big shot again. And so we have these thick embossing folders, and some of them have been reconfigured. I bought my subtle embossing folder before the new catalog came out. If you have, if you're buying the subtle embossing folder now, it's going to be slightly thinner, so you're going to need to either shim it up, or you're going to need to get that new blue cutting plate that we sell to give you that extra depth. So I'm going to take away my thin die adapter, and I'm going to take my, that's going to fall, stay. Okay, I'm going to take my subtle embossing folder. I'm going to put my piece inside here, that the one I just stamped. Oops. Stay. I want the grain to run vertically. So I have my big shot platform. I'm going to put my cutting plate down, and then I'm going to put my very warped upper cutting plate on top. You want the cutting plate on top so it warps the cutting plate, not your embossing folder, because the cutting plates are easy to replace. The embossing folders, you'll want to keep yours for a long time, and down the road, once it retires, it won't be replaceable. So you'd rather replace cutting plates, and they do last a long time, but these are easier to get. So here is my embossed piece, and it just gives it the look of fabric. Okay, so let me put that aside. Fabric, linen, that's what it looks like. Okay, and then we've got these two pieces right here with the greetings on it. So I'm just going to cut along here and cut this off. And I'm going to do this one first, the best. and I'm just making a little rectangle out of it. It's not going to be 100% square and perfect, but these are so small that it's very hard to actually tell that it's not 100% and perfect. So I'm actually going to cut in between the wishing and the U. And I think that will look pretty good. And then let me cut up the U. Make that a little straighter. Okay. So those are my little words that are going to come on the side. So I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to glue the little words right onto my piece just to make it easier. So take a little Tombow and I'll start here by starting to assemble my words onto the piece. And if you want to, you can kind of play with them a little bit so you know where you're going to go next. But I already have my card right here, so I'm kind of just trying to match up what I did on the card. So I do have a little sample that I'm working from. And I don't often cut up my words like this, but I think it actually looks really good for this project. So this is a good thing that we do, this Casing Tuesday, giving cards a makeover, because we do things that we might not naturally do. It forces us to try something new. Oh, now I've got glue on my fingers, but it should work. So like cutting up those words, that is not something that I normally do, but look how cute that is. I love that. And also it's making me try a doily, which I don't often do. So I've got these pearlized doilies here. And I'll put some Tombow on the back of one of these. With these ones, if you're using the pearl side out, you'll want to make sure that you put it on the matte side. You can also color these, so then you could color it on the non-pearlized side, but I want the pearlized side. And so I'm going to put this about a 1/4 inch from the left side and about 1/2 inch from the top, maybe closer to 3/8 of an inch from the top. So I'll just add that here. And then this one, you want to leave yourself a little bit of room. You can have this word hanging off the edge a little bit, but you don't want it hanging off super far because we do have a card base. Let me bring my card base in. So here's my card base. It's also in soft seafoam, and it's 11 by 4 1/4 and scored in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. So let me just pop this on here so we can get a sense for the placement. So you'll want to have it hanging off a little bit, but not all the way off, not super far. Okay. So that looks about good. Yeah, that looks pretty square. And then I'll put some Tombow on the back of this piece. And make sure the card's opening the correct way. There's nothing worse than like getting your card all set up and then you've glued your main piece on backwards. Then you have to tear it off or recut it. Okay. And then they had also on this card like a little piece coming across here. That's another one of the things I really cannot do. Like I really have a hard time with having like this like random horizontal piece going around. Don't ask me why. It just, I mean, it looks artistic, but I just can't do it. I don't know why. It's kind of like doilies. I'm going to have to get used to it. So instead, I just got some simple linen thread. And the nice thing about the linen thread is that it does not steal any thunder from the irises. It's just like there. It's very, very subtle. I also tried it with this beautiful tricolored purple ribbon, but I can just show you when you do that. Let me just tie a little bow or something. First of all, if you tie a bow with this ribbon, it's about 3/8 of an inch. No, it's almost half an inch, I'd say. Half an inch wide. Okay. When you do that, it looks pretty, but guess what happens to your irises? This is so big, it almost overpowers your irises, right? So then the next thing you would do is go, okay, that bow's too big. So then you go ahead and you tie your ribbon into just a plain knot, right? So you tie that on, but now you've got purple in the flowers and the purple in the bow, and that like they're competing for each other, right? And for some reason, that just doesn't make me happy. So that's why if you have like a subtle color, like a green ribbon might have looked nice here too, but this linen thread is just very subtle. So now when you look at this card, the very first thing you are going to look at are the purple irises, and that is what you want. That's what I want you to look at. So my purpose is accomplished, and everything else is secondary to the purple irises. The doily is secondary, the words are secondary, everything revolves around the irises. Everything is a subtle tribute to the irises, and that is what a card with good flow looks like. So even back here, these leaves that are stamped, the embossing folder I chose, everything is secondary to that. So it looks, I don't know, to me it looks pleasing to the eye. It's just, I want you to see the irises, and that's what you're going to see. So there are my two cards, and I think they turned out really nice. A very, wishing you the best. You can turn that into a birthday card. You could turn it into a card for someone going away, a promotion at work. You can turn this card into almost anything because you can wish someone the best for many different reasons. Then what I would do on the inside is, if it was a happy birthday card or birthday card, on the inside, wishing you the best is the outside, and then happy birthday on the inside. So then you can specify what the holiday is. So this is a very versatile card in that you could use it for a bunch of different holidays, and you don't have to decide ahead of time what that holiday is until you go and write the inside of the card. So I am going to just come back on the screen. Hi. I'm going to go and have a look and see if there's any questions or anything I should comment on. Thank you for everyone who has joined me today. So Renee says she loves doilies, but she doesn't use them on her cards very often. But she has a lot of them in her house. You know what? I like doilies, but I have a hard time with them on cards. I don't know why. I have such a hard time with them. So that's why this challenge really helps me to try something new, and that's why I believe in it so much, and I hope you will join us in the challenge and share your cards with us, because I do think it is good for our brains not to repeat the same things, and it gets me out of my comfort zone. Connie says she'll have to give her doilies another try. Try them on this card. This one was a good card for that because it's got a good layout for that doily in the background. Let's see if there's any other questions. Okay, there's no other questions. So let me just tell you a couple of things that are happening with Stampin' Up! This month. We have a promotion going on. If you spend $50 this month, Stampin' Up! Will give you a $5 coupon for August. So it's July 2019 right now. So if you spend $50, or for every $50 you spend with Stampin' Up! In July, you'll get a coupon August 2019, a $5 coupon that you can use that month. So there's no limit to the amount that you can earn. So if you spend a lot, you can get a lot of coupons to use next month. And the other thing is I am running a promotion this week, and I don't even know, where did I put my stuff? I'm like putting stuff away. Ah, here we go. Let me roll over to my stuff. So I am doing my little promotion this month is 6x6 paper packs, and I have a lot of beautiful retired paper that I will probably never ever get a chance to use because I'm always buying new stuff. And so I have taken my paper and cut it into very useful 6x6 squares, and it's nice to have your paper already cut to that size because it's more likely that you're going to use it. And I've got pretty paper, I've got Christmas paper, I've got Halloween paper, I've got paper in all different colors, I've got florals, I've got fall, I've got many different designs. But for every $50 you spend with me in July 2019, I'm going to send you one of my retired paper packs that have been cut up into 6x6 paper. So you're going to get a little pack like this. And let me just, this one's a really old one. Let me pull it out. But I've kept my paper really well. I've stored it really well. I don't smoke. I don't have pets. So my paper is like just in really good condition. And it's pretty. So this one is an old one. Oh, what year? I don't think it has the copyright date on it. This one was the Good Morning Sunshine paper. So it's, oh, let me see. It's good for heading into fall, but we've got owls and pretty little patterns. So I've got yellows and blues and browns. And so I cut all of this up into these useful squares. And this week I am doing projects, 6x6 projects on my blog. I'll have another one tomorrow. I did one yesterday. So you'll have ideas with what you can do with all this pretty paper. And so I really tried hard to make it very pretty. I've got the two little sheets protecting it on the front and the back to keep your paper nice and stiff and unbent. And then I have these cute little cello bags that I put them in so that they stay protected on the voyage to your house. And I'll let you know this too, if you order from me and you have a preference like Brenda, I love purple, or Brenda, I love florals, or whatever, I'll see if I can find something for you in my pack that I think that you will like. I will go through my paper because I have a lot of pretty paper that I want to share with you guys because it's not going to do me any good to hold on to it. And I know that this format is a great format for making cards because it's already in a small size, and it's a great format to make many different 3D paper crafting projects. And I'm going to be sharing those with you all this week. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a great day, and I will be back. I will be doing a YouTube live tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure what time. It will be probably in the afternoon by the time I get to it. But it will be a replay on my YouTube channel in any case. So once you see my blog post up, you will either be able to click right away on the video that I did, or you will be able to watch it live with me. All right, guys, have a great week, and don't forget to post your cards on our Facebook group. I would love to see them. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.